abstracts in. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Hopefully they're all accepted.
So they extended it. I just received an email this morning.
Oh yeah.
Oh, really?
February 12th.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, whatever.
Whatever. It's
They're
done.
done.
It's done. It's out of my mind.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's pretty long actually. Huh.
Yeah, I guess they probably didn't have enough submissions or something.
Yeah.
I mean, we had no idea that conference until Rowan gave us a heads up on that.
Yeah, and there's a big note like, please don't send us via email, send it through the system. So maybe they got a bunch of emails.
Oh, emailed abstracts.
Yeah.
That's silly. Well, that's good. Hopefully ours get accepted. It'll be fun to make a show in there. I'm giving a talk on Friday at the Reflex TechCon. Yeah, so you can see, they've got sort of confirmed speakers, and I mean, they've set the schedule, but I don't know if it's public yet. But there's somebody from Mira who's giving a talk on
No, yeah, right there. Just two down. Two more down that you are, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that should be interesting. I think he's in the morning. So
Okay.
could be interesting.
Are you guys all speakers, or is it posters for now? All speakers?
Oh, for the RFG?
Oh, that's different.
This is different.
Okay.
Yeah, this is like this week.
Yeah, we don't know yet. Okay.
Yeah, for the other one I submitted oral.
Yeah, submitted the oral. Yeah.
So that.
Where is it?
It is downtown. It is at SFU downtown.
Mm.
Yeah, so you guys are welcome to come. I'll be there. Rowan will be there. Yeah, so Rowan's in town.
Oh yeah.
He gets in, I think, Thursday night, and then we'll be at this thing all day Friday. But maybe Saturday. I think he flies out like sort of early evening. So if we wanted to do
On Saturday?
lunch or brunch or something
brunch,
like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Brunch is good.
Brunch can be good. Yeah.
Okay. Do you guys have any places?
I know a few.
Sure, yeah.
It depends on the area.
Yeah.
Mine are like Kitsilano or Palm Square.
It's all pretty. I think he's staying downtown, so it's easy to get around. If there's somewhere that's like delicious, that would be a first choice.
Yeah. The place from where I know, it's amazing, but it's very small, so
Oh,
if you're
okay.
more than 4, that might be.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason for our places, like,
Oh, yeah.
to get there.
Oh, yeah.
Seats.
That would be good. I've never been to brunch there. I bet it would be good.
Breakfast is good. Yeah.
Okay.
Not like it.
Well, we can
Yeah, it's
suggest
spicy.
that. Cool. So on my list for today, there's pull requests on Discretize that I think are really close. So let's take a quick look at those. We can chat through the DC ones. Sorry, I haven't had a chance to actually dive into that yet.
Yeah.
But we can chat about those as well. And if there's anything that you guys want to point out or.
Yeah, I have a question for you guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where do you guys want to start? Any references?
No.
Okay, let's maybe start with Discretize. So there's two that I think are like pretty darn close. The tree mesh cell grad. So my only comment, like outstanding here, is that there's a lot of commented out code.
Okay.
And so if there's stuff that we can clean out, that would be great. If there's stuff that we want to leave like for future notes, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
But I just wasn't sure like what those were.
The thing is that I'm sure lots of them were commented out by Roland, so I just don't know if he wants to keep them as notes for himself for later, or I guess you could always go back, right?
Oh, they were commented out by Rowan.
In the if it's in the tree, I think it's in the tree file, then yes.
Oh, so this was actually there before.
Ooh, yeah, not. Let's see.
Yeah, because these ones all changed, which is why I.
These were changes, like in.
Yeah, so it wasn't just remaining code.
I spoke too fast. Yeah, maybe this one's going to be cleaned up. Sounds good. I'll go through it.
Yeah, if you don't mind taking a look, and then I think we can pull this in,
Mm-hmm.
which would be awesome. And then from there, I'll update this guy. This will take one change in SimPEG as well, just in the right mesh. So I'll have to just sort of sync those pull requests, just because we'll change cell-grad stencils from function or from methods to properties.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
it's not a major change, but like it'll break the regularization if we don't do it in sync.
Much cleaner now, yeah. No breakouts.
Yeah. And then we will have a 3D still mesh. Cool. Okay, and then going to, one more thing on Discretize. I was again getting emails from Windows people, and I just wanted to check in on Conda Forge. Have you had a chance to take a look at that, or?
No.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
No worries. Just like wondering about this, like if you're still interested in looking into that, or?
Yeah.
And what would that end? That will handle the whole.
But I'll handle the installation.
The visual, plus compiler and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I haven't actually tried for Discretize at all.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'll try.
That would be awesome, because I think that would just like solve so many emails that we get of like, it's not installing on my Windows machine.
I know.
It's like, damn. Okay.
You receive a lot from that?
Well, we keep getting a few, and it's frustrating for people, which is fair enough. Like, you can't even get started. Like, that's so.
The will wasn't working, like no file.
No, so I think he's on just like a different version of Windows, so he needs a different real file.
Yeah, the will file depends on if your Windows 32 or 64, right? And if it's Python 2.7 or Python 3.7. So that makes like 4 will file minimum.
Yeah.
But I have tried with Solid's Windows, and at least a will that is built on 10 work on 7 too. I don't know for like older versions like that.
I don't think they're supported anymore anyway.
Yeah, so like we're not responsible. But at least if you build on the Windows 10 or 7, it can be better.
Yeah. And they were building at one point on App Fair, and then I don't know what happened there. So we can try and look at that as well. But yeah, Conda Forge I think is actually like the healthy long-term solution for our sanity. Cool. Okay, and then SimPEG. Do you have a question about?
Yeah, so I started making the changes for the save functions, directive saves. So we can store everything in lists internally, but then we're doing also write out files, writing, and then we're using that to load it back in. So the question is, how do we want to store the multiple FIAMs, the multiple FIBs? Do you want to send them up, or do you want to stack them in columns, or you can do it in blocks?
So I think like keeping them as modular as possible. So in the sense of like store each individual piece, and then because then we can recreate it from the base.
Yeah.
We should be able to use like dump it as a JSON dictionary. That's very simple.
Okay, because right now we're writing to file. We're writing like as an ASCII with columns.
Yeah. Dump it to JSON because that requires like 0 formatting by you, and we can read it in as a dictionary. So like I'll show you what it looks like. Because I've been doing that for all my casing stuff. Sorry, let me go here. Okay, so here, when you dump it out as JSON, this is just what it looks like, basically. So here, it hasn't, like, we haven't spaced it down or whatever, so it's a little harder to read. But you can store lists. So here I've got a list of my time steps, arrays, all those kinds of things. And if you want to see how to do that, it's just JSON. Let's see. Here's one. Okay, so here, what can the base actually save? So this is like a few more steps on what you actually need. But basically, this is all that you need.
Okay.
Not in this case, it won't be self.serialized. All you'll do is stick a dictionary in there, and then you dump JSON, and then we just read it back up as a dictionary. So there's no parsing, there's no custom file format that we bring.
So, and then I guess we could always write the text because maybe people want to see the result in terms of a matrix.
Yeah.
Write the wrong part output that's output.
Yeah. But internally, like saving and loading from something like this. And then if you want some different end product, then we can like create a nicely printed table. But this will be much less of a headache to work with. Because so this is the save and then load. I don't know offhand where I got it, but I can send you a code snippet that is the load for the JSON.
Can you tell me what's listen? I never used the width function with as alpha. But what's happening here?
So I'm opening a file with write capabilities.
Yeah.
So now I've created this like open file thing, and I just want to call it out file. So then I can actually dump my JSON into the out file.
I see. Because the dump requires an old dump.
Yeah.
And it will close it at the end.
It should do.
Okay. That's good. Yeah, I'll just get
Yeah.
Can you send me some?
You don't have to think that. I was just like, I was curious today why people are using, because it's basically saying that out file because it can open app.
Yeah, you could throw it in there, right?
But
yeah.
But it seems like with grid, it's actually like automatically close it.
I believe so.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, so I'll just send that over the Python channel.
No, that's right. And also the read-in.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so that should make things easier, hopefully.
And how are you going to kind of store, like you say, phi-d and phi-n?
Yeah, if I didn't find them, I'm going to be global, right? Actually, if I this, that's going to be on the emission functions.
Right.
What you should be able to do, check what the serialize function does on the objective functions. I'm not entirely sure. I don't think that quite works. But what you should be able to do is basically just like by class name, sort of just walk down the tree. So do like my Tikhonov regularization, and then that is nested. So here, it'll just be like a nested dictionary, if that makes sense. So here you'll have Tikhonov. And then inside of that, you then have smallness. Is whatever smoothness. Etc. So it's just like a nested dictionary? Does that make sense? So because this is a dummy dictionary, and then this is a. So you're mimicking the structure of the objective function itself. So as you walk down it.
You cannot could be as one could be one remaining also.
Yeah. And so
How we start. And we don't want to store the whole thing, we just want to start with the value.
I think you want to store the whole thing because like we don't want to be losing information. It's easy to create the end value from your TP off, as long as we also have all the multipliers and all that.
No, because Greg mentioned this and did in realization, so I'm going to start storing meshes like operators and all that stuff.
No, but if you have the value, you have the smallness value, and it's multiplier.
Yeah. I don't
You
know.
should sum and add those things.
No, totally.
You don't need to write mesh.
No, the values I missed it, but you're talking about serializing the whole thing.
No, just serializing the outputs.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to look at it. I'm not sure I get how that works.
Okay.
I mean, I can create a dictionary, no problem, but yeah, deducting functions. So I'm gonna
Okay, we can chat through that if you want afterwards. Yeah, I mean, if you have something that's like sort of working right now, that's fine. We can bring that in and like iterate on this afterwards too. That's not a big deal. Because I think like a lot of this will come with upgrades in properties as well, or like upgrades in us injecting properties,
Okay.
and decent loggers and such. Is there anything else on this PR that is worth highlighting, or?
No, I think it's not just passing because the MT example, which I'm not sure really because like it actually runs on. So it tried like with my 2.7 version,
Yeah,
3.6 version, it runs, and it actually fails on branch, and actually your branch as well. So it seems like
fails on there as well.
it fails exactly the same reason. So probably like I'm trying this running probably the latest version of Honda or something.
I think it's probably the latest version of NumPy. I think because it's failing in a rep array, and I think the way that Gitney's using that is perhaps a little custom. I'm not entirely sure.
So I was sure you probably ask to fix it, or could comment that line, then plotting this point, and then ask Google to fix it later.
Is it? But it's not the plotting. Is it?
No, I think it's actually from the plotting.
Oh, is it? Okay. If it's just from the plotting, then sure, comment it out, and we can make an issue and just say this needs to be upgraded. That's fine.
Yeah, I can try that.
Okay, that'd be great.
Otherwise, other things are passing. So.
Okay. One of the things I wanted to ask you guys is just if we want to throw warnings when you import some of the utils, just in the sense that like they might change in the future, so don't rely on them too heavily.
What do you mean the details?
Like just some of the ones that you were talking about, like with the way you're setting up like the I/O utils. Like I think a lot of that functionality will be preserved, but will change. And so if you import it and are heavily relying on it right now, that's potentially dangerous.
Like a warning, like, especially for example for like the new stuff like survey design or IODC.
Yeah, it's just like, I mean, it's not an error or anything, but it's just as a notification to let the user know, like, hey, this is sort of under construction. Yeah, I don't know what thoughts are on that, if that's a good idea.
It's something new that we haven't used much yet, so yeah.
Yeah, well, that's a good idea.
Okay.
Because the project's going to change it. That's fast.
Yeah. I mean, we'll preserve a lot of it, but it might just be like a weird upgrade if somebody starts building on it.
And
So-
like, just do you want to put a warning, like print out and run the code?
Yeah, just like a warning stop. Not when the, like what I was actually wondering, and this is a question too, is we might even do it just on, like if there's a whole file that we're sort of treating as under construction. So like IODC, we could just when you import IODC, just throw a warning that just says IODC is under construction. Some of the API might change. So like that would just be here actually. Something like that can be something that's a little more informative, but cool. Yeah, so then with that, I think if we can just get it passing again, then we can bring this in.
Are we passing the coverage for that branch? Because we're touching technically the tree mesh, right? But the tree mesh is not yet built, so how can we pass to get the coverage?
We were passing it at some point, but
I'm not sure about
I think now actually it's very we might not pass the coverage, but it was like, yeah, we were increasing coverage by like 0.2%.
Oh, really? So you just covered other stuff to estimate it to make up for it?
Like I know for me, for example, like we add a lot of DC utils and all of them are tested. So
Okay.
that's
The overall is bumped it up.
Okay. Yeah, the coverage isn't going to come through when Travis is failing, so it's sort of hard to tell.
Well, I just remember by memory before Travis was passing
Okay.
coverage. I was wondering if coverage was passing too.
it's a quality review that we're not passing. That's the only one.
Yeah, that's probably why, because you increase other elsewhere, and so.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fair.
So it would make sense. Though. I mean, we could merge the tree mesh first, and then add an example or add something for this one after the reading
That'd be great.
to increase our
Yeah.
coverage.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
This is actually worth taking a look at. If somebody wouldn't mind just like skimming through the codice on this pull request.
Oh, I did. I think okay, those can be gone.
Yeah, the static utils one now.
Yeah, there were
now I
couple,
know
yeah,
that.
there were a couple like which I wasn't really understanding.
Those ones are gone. New issues.
I think I fixed that.
Go in and you make the changes that it suggests and then, commit and then push, then it'll automatically go and say you fix these issues, or is there something you actually have to do?
No, it should automatically say fix these issues. I'm wondering if it's not updating properly because it's failing Travis right now, and that's entirely possible. Yeah, so let's get Travis passing and then we can see where these other things are at.
And the other thing, can we because if I run a plotting function and test, probably actually fails.
Yeah.
So I think that display setup is not quite, it's not there. Can we actually set up that we can also run tests for plotting functions?
So you can test as long as you don't do plt.show.
That was not passing either.
You should then, okay, there's a subtle thing where we can set the backend. So let's see, we might have it in discretize. So here, so if you import matplotlib, matplotlib.use ag should fix that. If you were like, check out what error you were getting. If it was something about the matplotlib not being able to find a backend, then this should solve that.
Can you put that in
Yeah,
Slack too?
for sure.
Like most of my testing function now, like I have a plotted argument which is false for trace, so it's very easy to use again if I use that.
Yeah, and this I believe needs to be at the top before the rest of your imports.
Okay.
So give that a try. The other thing I was wondering, do we want to remove some channels? Like we can archive some. There's a lot of them, and we don't use most. Yeah, like meetings, I think we basically put everything on general. So, okay. I'll like just post a note. I'll look through these and post a note. And if we haven't used it in 6 months, then we'll archive it. Yeah, because I think it's simpler if there's less of these things. Cool. Okay. Yeah, so what else are you guys up to these days?
Kind of want to work on the efficiency issues and SimPEG.
Yeah.
Because what's really bugging me is how we're doing matrix vector content. It's supposed to be relatively fast and memory efficient.
Yeah.
Memory-wise, it's actually efficient, but it's not fast. So there's something going on. I'm not 100% sure why. There are probably multiple places. So yeah, I basically want to profile.
Yeah.
And
have you checked out the issue that Jake Vanderplas, the comment in SciPy?
But partially like what the film guy commented actually solves. So I'm not 100% sure what's the, yeah, I need to follow that up. So that's one possibility.
Yeah.
So like there was an issue like if you multiply matrix by matrix, like sparse matrix by whatever dense matrix, that's actually fast. But
yeah,
if you do matrix by vector and then do a for loop, that was much slower.
Yeah.
So that there was one issue.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's one thing, but there are quite a few other things that we might need to be a bit careful when we're looping over matrix vector product, because in the for loop, there's quite a few things going on in Python.
Yeah.
And it seems like there are a few kind of ways that we can make it a little bit faster, like using non-EXPR that actually like optimize just array operation.
Okay.
So yeah, but I just want to diagnose where that is and what's the problem, because I wasn't really sure.
Yeah, because one of the things that we need to look into as well is X-array.
I did a quick look.
Yeah.
I was not sure if that's actually going to help for our cases.
That's fair.
Because it's more like it's been more closer to pandas and handling like a large array, dense arrays.
Yeah.
And
But two, I wonder though if like, because it does lazy operations, right? So, and I wonder if that would save us anything. So like it doesn't, it computes, when you're doing a for loop, I think, what it'll be doing is building up like a pipeline of operations, and then it doesn't actually execute until you call for it, in which case it's sort of optimized in that sense. So there might be some things in there that are valuable for us in that sense.
yeah, so basically my question, okay, we got to the point where it's useful and we could actually do research.
Yeah.
So like significant size, but can we actually move up of that our game where we can actually do building fast and parallelizing the code.
Yeah.
So to move on that, I think it's just checking the current stage of like, okay, are we actually doing memory efficient?
Yeah.
And also, are we doing okay with speed?
Yeah.
And are in the algebra, how we're using it is okay or not? That's something that I really want to check.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the little bit of research on okay, which is a good mark for the profile is what might be a good parallelization. There's a package called line profiler.
Okay. Yeah.
Rowan has a memory profiler attached to a syntax.
Yeah.
That's actually to check the memory. That's fine, but that does not check kind of in terms of like speed wise.
Yeah.
So checking the time and stuff. It's not like not really set memory profiler. And for parallelization, I'm still in the learning curve. Python parallel seems like pretty good. Still not what I wasn't sure. It was really general and clear, but what I wasn't sure is it really kind of develop. Is it good for scientific computation? That's something that I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
But to make it really general, they got a lot of overhead, and that.
Have you looked at Dask?
I think you can plug in IPython parallel to Dask. That was my feeling.
Right, but I wonder if like Dask is potentially a little less overhead, like in going to something like IPython parallel to make it easier. Sometimes there is a little more baggage with it.
Yeah. So I was curious. Is there a kind of good example?
Yeah.
Where like community of people in computer science or who are pretty serious actually doing this kind of computation for normal conversions or whatever. There's a good kind of a benchmark. It'll be a good kind of start.
Yeah.
Otherwise, building up by ourselves, I think it's still dangerous.
Yeah.
We may spend a lot of time, but it's not open that much stuff.
Yeah. One project to take a look at is Pangeo. This is more so looking at big data, but I think that there's some pieces here that are going to be very valuable. And so they're actually trying to, like, one of their goals is to actually help projects build scalable packages. And so the two things that they've identified as important for packages to scale are Dask and Xarray compatibility. And so this is still like more so looking at dealing with large data sets. So some of the problems that they encounter are a bit different. But I think that this might be, there might be some projects that are like under this umbrella that have some ideas for us.
Okay.
I'll send this on Slack.
I just did.
Oh, thanks.
There's something that when we started using the F-tree meshes, and I need to dive into it, there's some parts that are parallelized. Because if you look at the, I'm running an inversion right now, and look how much my CPUs, how much processors I'm there are some steps that are actually parallelized. They're multi-threading.
So the multi-threading is definitely for,
All the C operations, right?
no, I think
No.
the solver is definitely parallelized. So I think that we're using maximum gaps for solver. But I think you probably need to check where actually when you're solving your system, they do use like a threading for DSO.
But here I'm using the project Jasmine that we wrote, which is all like C2 that we're not using any
I think
outside.
we still use the producer for a precondition. So I think that could be.
Preconditioning with the code.
Oh, okay. Then if that's the case, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. Yeah.
This,
There's definitely processes that are done multi-threaded here.
Could be. Yeah, I think that's probably a Cycon. Actually, Cycon is pretty simple to
That's right.
parallelize.
Well,
So, but that doesn't really fit in. So that's fit in like kind of simple operation. Like let's say you have a matrix vector product and we have a huge, so we're going to form it and we're just going to loop over it. Then I think that's actually a good choice. Like, simple operation, simple code. But the problem here is, let's say we want to loop over our problems. And that's where actually complication is.
Like your right hand side, or
Yeah, simple one is I think that's actually like that's not it's pretty simple to parallelize. So I did a bit of exercise on that. So I think that one is actually not bad. Then probably like in Cycon, they may use it. Although you need to set that, so I'm not sure. Well, if that's actually like fixed, number of threads is fixed, or they check the maximum and then put it in. Because when I was asked to go on, he said no, they're not. Obviously. Pretty much.
oh really? Yeah. Okay.
That's what he said. I'm not that 100% sure. But the Joe,
Yeah,
he did a bit of other steps, so actually he could have.
I guess I just need to run it line by line and see which ones are.
Yeah, so for that, I think having some sort of like a line profiler ability, like it'll like check how much time you spend lines.
Mhm.
That would be better. So, yes, that's why I'm interested in this. I'm not sure that I'm really progressing. I'm just like kind of wandering around.
Yeah. Well, I do think that like checking the SciPy matrix vector product like as a first step. I mean, because if that's an easy win for us, that would be huge. If it's a one-line fix in SciPy, and then I'm sure there's other things that we can improve efficiency, but like there's some easy wins. That's
yeah, you just need to ask.
Yeah.
That's all. Can you fix it?
Yeah, well, we can fix it.
Yeah, or we can fix it.
Yeah. Yeah, because like I think he pointed out basically exactly what needs to change, so it shouldn't be too hard of a fix. It's like interfacing to the class level things, but that's
it's
it
more
should be
fundamental.
so.
Okay. Yeah, at least I want to have, that, as I said, do that and then have some sort of prototype parallelization. That's what I want to.
Yeah. Well, and getting properties is going to be really helpful for that, for serializing and deserializing. Like to send a mesh multiple places and all this. We'll get there. Well, actually, the meshes now are serializable. So problems aren't currently, but that's shouldn't be too hard to actually do. So. Cool. Yeah, any other things you guys want to bring up or things you're working on? I'm doing lots of stuff with the casing, and so what I'm like trying to learn in parallel with the research side is also how getting a handle on drivers for the code and like how we want to be able to interface with them and like making it easy to save and load stuff. Right now mine is too like convoluted in what it's saving, so that leads to some weird behaviors where like objects can get out of sync. And then like your mesh is strange because your source couldn't get updated. So there's a few things, like a few subtleties there, but yeah, it's definitely very nice to be able to build something up in Jupyter, like look at your mesh, look at everything, and then kick it over the cluster and just say run. So yeah, I will keep you guys posted.
Nice. So working with Jeff on the
Yeah, I was gonna make, I guess maybe like a cooperative inversion approach, and I finished the pull request where sort of put in some time domain data, and you would go back and forth between inverting certain time channels for VRM and then inverting the kind of the remainder with an EM code. And I'm wondering if that's sort of something that would be put into its own driver, or whether or not I would put that as a utils for VRM. Like what?
That right now would be its own script. So start with that as an example. Yeah, and then if like there's generalizable pieces, then we can sort of break it down into utils. But first off, something like that is a script.
Well, I mean, it's its own like VRM utils, whether or not I should make sort of a .py with that, because the general flavor of it would be you have everything set up for this inverse problem, or in terms of conductivity, and you have that for VRM. You just feed that into, I guess, this function. You would call it, and it would do all the stuff, and then spit out kind of your final VRM, your final conductivity model. That's kind of the idea.
I think that's more like a corporate directive.
directives. It's more directive. You have a single problem, and then your directive would trigger which one you're inverting at what time. It would be much simpler, right? Because at the end of each iteration, you can make a decision on what you want, and you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, so then other ones go at sort of a higher level where you could put in any two.
Your problem
any
is
two,
everything.
Yeah, well, basically any two problems, and run just a cooperative inversion that sort of inverts this small parameter to explain a portion of the data, and this one to explain.
Yeah, or I mean, it's the same problem as the VRM problem. Then it makes sense that you just have one problem because you have one sensitivity matrix, you want double your sensitivity matrix.
One's VRM and one's EM.
Okay.
So invert late time channels,
Okay.
and then remove it, and then try and invert everything else in terms of conductivity.
Yeah.
And then if you're not getting a good fit, kind of.
Yeah, so it would be a cooperative directive.
Yeah. So that's sort of where it should be developing.
Yeah, I would try that.
Yeah. That's it's a cooperative inversion. Can you switch off for the data mismatch as well? Say, let's say, so I generate the two data mismatch on both VRM and EM. One iteration, can I switch off one data mismatch?
Yeah.
How we go do that?
You set the multiplier to 0. There isn't really exit, so it won't evaluate.
So I will still do the calculations, but then it will just not give any contribution to it. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's still gonna like hang and say what's my value, but it returns 0 without calculating
Yeah,
anything.
that makes sense.
So you said like basically everything is set up as a joint inversion, and then a cooperative is just like triggering on and off.
Yeah, that's true.
But then in a model slide, how do you, like, can you kind of force just to update one model? Is that possible? Or
If you switch up your gradients, nothing's going to happen, right? The model's not going to be updated. So you have to switch both the misfit and the realization on those model parameters, I guess, and nothing's going to happen.
So I wasn't planning on feeding it in as one big model, because it would be able to work on two separate meshes and sort of fit some late times and try and fit it completely, and then it would, you get this remainder, which hopefully would just be EM, and then you try and fit that separately, and then maybe you try and go back and do a little bit of adjustment on either side. But the plan was to be able to spit out two separate models that can live on separate meshes.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have two regularization, you're gonna add, they're gonna be a combo regularization, which you're gonna have different meshes, that's not an issue. Your mesh function, the regularization can have all. I would start it easy though, man, start it with one mesh, you know, just to get the mechanics of the thing happening.
Yeah.
You can make it harder like that, like, there's no point of like.
And two, though, like still within SimPEG, you're only going to pass one model vector. It might contain two physical properties that are completely distinct. That's fine. But yeah, you're only going to pass one model vector.
So you need to use the wire map for that.
Yeah, so then ultimately you want a single, that works.
It doesn't matter if they're different meshes, right? One could be 3 model parameters, you know, 100.
Yeah.
They're just going to be stacked on top of each other.
Yeah, it's not so much about that, it's just the fact that one problem is going to be inverting for a small amount of time channels, and one's going to be inverting for all of them. One, you basically separately, you do a separate inversion, you subtract it off, and you invert the remainder. I mean, I'll probably set it up that way. I'm not sure it's doing exactly what I want it to do, so.
You know, that's going to be a direct loop.
Yeah, but it sounds like you're modifying your data, not your model.
Sorry?
Sounds like you're modifying your data, not your model.
Well, the general flavor of what I want to do is invert eight time channels for one model, forward model at all times, right? Subtract, and then
the data,
invert.
so you're modifying the data, so
Yeah.
you're not really modifying the model.
Which I think in theory we can do, it's quite
Yeah.
dangerous with the, you just go inside, you miss the function inside your survey and then modify your hubs.
Well, yeah. And
But that's
what-
gonna be mad.
What you guys are suggesting though is
Yeah.
one large objective function that contains
All of them.
everything at once.
Yeah.
And what I am hoping to do is a two-step process.
But
Basically like a
But it
process.
doesn't matter, it's just a container, right? Your total document is just a container that has everything and then can turn things on and off afterwards. It's just a simpler way to like put it together.
How I would start with this, because this, like, this is a deep dive.
It's
into
touching
a
everything.
lot of SimPEG, and it's going to be complicated to get your head around. So I would start, like, write a script. And if all you want to do is do, like, one iteration and another iteration, trigger the inversion to only do one iteration on each and go back and forth. So, like, write a loop that basically says, do this one, then this one until I've satisfied my criteria. Yeah, and then we can sort of start like building it more in the SimPEG fashion, but like first just scratch out the idea. Because if you dive into all of these pieces all at once, it's going to be crazy.
It seems like it would take a simple idea and make it sort of overly complicated based on what I know about the inner workings of SimPEG.
I don't think, yeah, it's not gonna be
not
hard to
necessarily-
implement.
yeah.
It's just.
But I think what will actually be like really valuable for you in this, and will hopefully help learn some of the SimPEG style of things as well, is just implement it how it's in your head.
Yeah.
And then we can help you translate that into SimPEG, and then you can see both of those steps.
Yeah,
Which I think
really
is a
useful.
valuable way to go.
So, you know, it's just something I was thinking about doing in the next few months.
Yeah, no, I think it's totally doable now. And then we haven't implemented yet the cooperative, right? We all like experimented with it, but
Yeah.
we all have a set directive to do it.
Yeah.
I'm working with Jeff again. Yeah, he wants to do do a parametric plus like the decomposing we're talking about. So
Yeah.
decomposing the model with the parametric model and then like voxel-based model and then do that together.
That's cool.
That's gonna be this week.
Yeah, so it's
Oh, are you going to do-
kind of problem or similar.
No, because in my case, I have a single missile function and I have a single problem, theoretical problem. It's just the model is
So you're going to do that model split, and one model is the parametric model, and the other is smooth model?
yeah,
That's actually cool.
yeah, and then it's going to be it's the sum map, right? So it's adding them before doing the forward model and then regularizing them differently.
That's actually cool.
Yeah, no, that's I was thinking of that
Interesting to see what you did, Sabi.
for GA, like with the bedrock and local switcher.
So you invert for like 12 values.
Are you fixing boundaries?
You're inverting to
That's
that.
Yeah, right now it's
You're
interesting.
subtracting.
The geographical model,
I didn't
and
put
know
it-
what's there, so you want the values of those, plus whatever. else.
That's super cool.
And that, and this is like, script.
Yeah, in my case, I would,
It's like,
invert for the bedrock overburden interfaces, so like the surface. And then adding local filter.
That's the next two.
So that's when I saw your thing, I was like, oh, that's what I can use.
Yeah. It's the poly map that we haven't tested. It works, right? You guys done the updates or I don't know how the updates work.
Sorry, the poly.
Yeah, it's like to update the switches.
Yeah.
Because you're reducing everything to like a plane. So that's kind of a
Yeah, so
gradient
there
steps or.
you need like a spline like that's potentially
It's,
funky.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I mean, yeah, which one's gonna take over, I invested the poly now,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
gonna take
in
over the
some cases,
updates.
actually, it's actually helpful. But,
All space for experimenting.
it's worthwhile to think about it.
One last thing, do you guys want to try and revive the this week? Is that helpful, motivating? Yes, no?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it does.
Cool. Yeah, so then if you post stuff by Friday night, it'll get into a blog.
Okay, Friday night, what time Friday night?
I'll do them Saturday morning, so.
Okay.
So then Saturday at like 2 a.m.
Yeah. So, okay. Yeah.
That's good. That's great deadline.
Cool.
Miss the deadline for 1 week, it just gets rolled into the next.
Yeah.
I just make it bigger, make it better.